Chapter 24-34, The Seal of Samuel 1. The power flowing from Samuel's fingertips coursed through his body like a hidden river, quietly churning deep within his blood and soul. It was not violent, yet it carried a heart-stopping majesty. With every breath, that power expanded slightly, as if seeking to fuse completely with his supernatural abilities. 12 silver thrones floated silently before him. The queens, seated high above, wore solemn expressions. Silver light flickered from them, as if analyzing some unknown energy. An indescribable tension hung in the air. Finally, a silver-haired queen with cascading locks spoke slowly, her voice clear yet icy. "He left a mark within you." Zhang Yi furrowed his brow slightly and looked up at her. "A mark?" "Indeed." Another queen continued, her pupils deep as the lunar sea, emitting a gentle yet icy glow. "It is no ordinary power, but Samuel's spiritual imprint. While it grants you strength, it also leaves coordinates deep within your soul." Zhang Yi fell silent for a moment before suddenly chuckling softly. "Sounds like someone sprayed me with pesticide and slapped a label on me for good measure." "Pesticide?" The Silver Queen repeated the unfamiliar term with a hint of confusion. Zhang Yi shrugged. "In Earthling slang, it means, I've been planted like a crop. He fertilized me, watered me, and exposed me to sunlight to make me grow faster, so he could harvest me more thoroughly later." His tone was calm, yet tinged with sarcasm. Among the 12 silver throne seats, several goddesses exchanged complex glances. "You are correct." The Silver Queen seated at the highest center spoke slowly. "He is indeed cultivating you. Samuel's spiritual will cannot fully leave the sealed land. He uses you as a vessel to extend his own will. Once you grow powerful enough, he will use that mark to turn your power against you." Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes, his tone detached. "So basically, once I'm fattened up like a lamb, he'll slaughter me himself, right?" "You could interpret it that way." The Silver Queen's voice grew slightly deeper. "Samuel's power is the embodiment of wrath, a primordial energy capable of devouring all things. The mark within you will constantly draw energy from the outside world, helping you grow stronger while simultaneously accumulating power for him." "Sounds fair enough," Zhang Yi shrugged with a cold smile. "He helps me grow stronger, and I provide him with a nutrient cycle. Mutual benefit and symbiosis, right?" "Symbiosis?" The Queen shook her head, her tone turning harsh. "That is not coexistence. It is enslavement. Not a single life he has marked has ever survived in the end." Zhang Yi fell silent for a moment, a slow smile curling his lips. That smile held not a trace of fear, but instead radiated an extremely dangerous confidence. "If he wants to harvest me," he murmured softly, "then I'll make him perish first." A tremor rippled through the silver light. The gazes of all 12 silver goddesses converged on him simultaneously. The invisible pressure was so intense it seemed to freeze the air itself, yet Zhang Yi stood perfectly straight, his eyes cold and unwavering, showing no sign of retreat. "Such resolve is commendable," the short-haired queen spoke, her deep voice tinged with approval. "But understand this, the power he bestowed is no ordinary gift. That energy is merging with your soul. If you cannot master it completely, it will consume you." Zhang Yi lowered his gaze, observing the faint crimson-black glow pulsing within the spiritual pattern etched upon his palm. That was the mark left by Samuel, an ancient symbol radiating an aura both unholy and solemn. He clenched his fist, and the crimson-black light was instantly swallowed by a dark spiritual current. The energy of the netherworld surged like a black tide, silently enveloping the mark. "Rest assured," Zhang Yi smiled faintly, "I will not let anyone control me. Not even a demon god, or even the Creator." In that moment, his voice rang out with steel-like resolve, radiating an unshakable determination. The goddesses upon the silver throne remained silent for a long while. Finally, the Supreme Queen at the center spoke, "Your will is strong. Perhaps that is precisely why he chose you. But remember, the power of the Drucker is always a double-edged sword. If you cannot master it, it will devour everything you hold dear. Thank you for the warning." Zhang Yi bowed slightly, his tone calm. But I believe, since he dared to leave his power within me, I must use it to my fullest advantage. When the day comes that he seeks to harvest, I shall wield this power to cut his scythe in two. The queen sighed softly. You possess both courage and wisdom. May your choice not become the beginning of another cycle. Zhang Yi smiled, offering no further reply. He lifted his gaze to the dome formed of crystal and silver. The silver light flowed like a dreamscape. The power Samuel had bestowed slumbered within him, like a dormant beast. It brought danger, yet also an unprecedented opportunity. If fate forced him to be the prey, then he would turn the tables and become the hunter. He would use this cursed power to shatter the invisible shackles. Ladies, Zhang Yi lifted his head, a faint smile playing on his lips. I believe it is time for me to take my leave. The 12 goddesses lifted their gazes simultaneously. A flash of silver light rippled through the air, creating gentle undulations. The short-haired Silver Queen spoke softly, You intend to leave the Brilliant Moon Empire? Stay at least a few more days. It would be wise to wait until your power stabilizes before departing. Zhang Yi shook his head. Staying too long will draw unwanted attention. Samuel's mark upon me is like a death countdown. Time is short, 100 years? 200? I must gain the strength to confront him within that time. Kill me? Turn me into your meal? Don't even dream of it. When the time comes, I'd rather die than give myself to you. Zhang Yi thought this. His mindset was always straightforward, better to go down fighting than suffer alone. Anyway, power gained for free, might as well seize it first. You. The queen began to speak, but was cut off by the Supreme Queen in the center. Let him go. The Supreme Queen's voice was ethereal yet resolute. He has embarked upon his own path. Excessive interference would only alter his destined trajectory. She raised her hand lightly, and a silver stream of light descended slowly, coalescing into 12 crystals that hovered before Zhang Yi. These are sacred radiance crystals from the reserves of the Brilliant Moon Empire. They contain pure energy that can help stabilize the power within you and defend against mental corruption in critical moments. Zhang Yi reached out to take them. The crystals vibrated faintly, cool to the touch, as if a living force flowed within them. Chapter 24:35, The Seal of Samuel II. Thank you. He murmured softly. He wasn't being polite at all. These pure energy entities could be absorbed in the future, making him stronger. This was also the reward he deserved for helping the Brilliant Moon Empire. Xu Liunian stepped forward from the side, a hint of complex emotion in her eyes. The Brilliant Moon Empire will always remember you. Should you ever wish to return, we shall light the silver lamp for you. Zhang Yi smiled faintly, may that day not be the end of all things. Xu Liunian sighed softly and bowed in silent respect. Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin exchanged a glance, both corners of their mouths curving into a serene smile. They had traversed such a long time within the apocalypse. 5 years, how many 5-year spans does a life hold? They had weathered every storm and tempest, so no risk seemed insurmountable in their eyes. Was it courage or numbness? It no longer mattered. The two bid farewell to the silver throne, then turned and departed, their steps steady. Each step left a faint trail of light upon the crystal world's floor. Zhang Yi did not look back, yet his silhouette was illuminated by 12 silver beams, as if bidding him farewell. As he emerged from the underground sanctuary of the Brilliant Moon Empire, traversing the endless silver staircase, he lifted his gaze to the sky. In that instant, profound moonlight spilled across his face. That radiance intertwined with the crimson-black light within him, forming a strange, flowing pattern. Samuel's mark, the emblem of power. Humph. He chuckled wryly. Seems the scapegoat needs to learn how to grow a sword. After leaving the Brilliant Moon Empire, Zhang Yi summoned the Dreamer and released everyone from the shadow space. Brian immediately rushed over, wagging his tail. His large, doggy eyes sparkled with excitement, and his stubby tail flapped like a small fan, a surprisingly lethal weapon. Hi, bro. You okay? can you force out whatever that demon god left inside you with your supernatural powers? Zhang Yi didn't respond. Lately, Brian had been absorbing Huashu Kingdom culture at an alarming rate. Who knew who'd corrupted him? His gaze drifted toward the corner, where a chubby fellow was groping Nan Liang's hand. Brian grinned cheekily. Just now, I almost thought those giant queens were going to keep you as a male concubine. Zhang Yi patted its head and murmured softly, a male concubine? While I am handsome and dashing, my size might not be quite suitable. Let's just forget about that. Brian froze, then saw Zhang Yi's smiling face. His big eyes blinked, and he grinned. Even though the toothpick stirring the big vat plan failed, you still made a big haul this time. I knew it. Everywhere you go, you bring back some cosmic-level treasure. It really is a great haul. Zhang Yi smiled casually, opening his palm to reveal 12 silver glowing crystals spinning gently between his fingers, emitting a soft radiance. Brian's eyes lit up. Can you eat this stuff? If you dare eat it, I will dare to bury you. Then I'll pass. Zhang Yi chuckled softly, tucking the crystals back into his palm. The dreamer sailed through the moon's shadow, gliding into the boundless void of space. Beyond the porthole, Earth, that blue and white orb, rotated slowly, like a jewel suspended in the darkness. Inside the ship, soft lights cast a gentle glow, the air thick with quiet contemplation. Everyone knew the meeting with the brilliant Moon Empire was far more complex than its outward calm suggested. Zhang Yi sat in the central sofa seat, hands folded on his knees, silently gazing at the starry sea beyond the porthole. Within him, he could still feel the energy from Sam'el surging quietly. That power was heavy and profound, yet carried an indescribable allure. Zhang Yi. Zhou Qiu settled gently beside him, her hand instinctively wrapping around his arm. A hint of concern touched her face. Sam'el's mark upon you. It won't cause any harm, will it? A warm, supple sensation enveloped Zhang Yi's arm. Since her supernatural had evolved from doctor to the immortal, Zhou Qiu's mastery over bodily structures had reached the cellular level. Thus, modifying the body came effortlessly to her. She still bore the face of an 18-year-old girl, yet possessed a figure perfectly proportioned, every curve a golden ratio. Her appearance alone was a feast for the eyes, let alone the feel of her skin. Zhang Yi's left arm expertly encircled her waist, drawing her close. He turned his head, his gaze gentle, a faint smile playing on his lips. Rest assured, at least for the short term, it only benefits me, no harm. I used to grow vegetables. Farmers don't eat the seeds, they cultivate the plants until they're lush and plump before harvesting. Now, he shrugged with self-deprecating humor, I'm just poultry raised by Sam'el. He'd love to see me grow fat. With an ability index of 46,000 points, Zhang Yi was barely enough to fill Sam'el's teeth. At the very least, one would need to be of the king-level tier to satisfy his appetite. However, having harvested so many resources from the moon this time, Zhang Yi was confident he could break through to the 50,000-point level within 3 months. Black Knight. A tier once unimaginable was now within reach. By then, in the human world, Zhang Yi would be an unparalleled, top-tier powerhouse. Yet, 2 names surfaced in Zhang Yi's mind. The Holy See. And the Pupil Organization. He had already encountered the most powerful supernatural beings across all nations within the human realm. Whether in Colombia, Fremons, Britannia, or the Nordic countries, the strongest warriors were no match for him. Yet he sensed the Holy See and the Pupil Organization still held secrets. Especially the Holy See. They had orchestrated 2 sealing operations against the demon god, and each time, their actions had been highly irregular. Zhang Yi couldn't shake the feeling they were plotting something. Once we return to Earth, we must thoroughly investigate them. And that betrayal won't be forgiven so easily. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes, his voice icy. Zhou Qiu nodded. The lunar expedition had indeed been fraught with complex events. She patted her ample chest. I'm just glad you're okay. Professor Da Vinci sat nearby, arms crossed, a rational coldness flickering in his eyes. The fact that there are no immediate problems is the most terrifying part. Samuel's power isn't merely energy-based. It's more like a mental parasite. The professor's voice was steady and contemplative. Back in the Brilliant Moon Empire, those Silver Throne figures warned us that Samuel would use the mark as a medium to establish some kind of resonance. It's highly likely he'll sense every change in you. Chapter 2436, The Seal of Samuel 3. That's like having a tracking device implanted. You won't be able to slip away from now on. Brian sat on the sofa, lazily wagging his tail as he sipped the energy-restoring coffee Yang Xia had brought him, his tone laced with unease. Bro, if you let one rip, he'd probably smell it from miles away. Shut up. Zhang Yi shot him a glance, his tone cool. The remark drew a chuckle from the group, easing the tense atmosphere slightly. Uncle Yu sat in the corner, his semi-mechanized frame towering over 2 meters tall like a mighty armored bear. A freshly lit cigarette clamped between his fingers, he puffed out a cloud of smoke. Cigarettes were incredibly precious in the post-apocalypse, as major factions had little fields left to grow the stuff. Even Tianhai City was burning through its stockpiles. Agriculture Minister Li Jian stubbornly refused to open any new land for tobacco cultivation, much less divert grain to produce alcohol. Once, a group of old smokers and drinkers passionately argued with Li Jian, emphasizing the importance of mental numbing. In response, Li Jian merely tossed them a pile of silicone products. If this stuff can give you a buzz, stop wasting grain. The old smokers and drinkers turned dark with anger, then sulkily hauled away several boxes of specialties from Fiji. Uncle Yu looked at Zhang Yi and said gravely, the queens of the Yihan tribe in the Brilliant Moon Empire were right. Samuel is a dangerous presence. What he gave you, it looks like a gift, but it's really a chain. You can use it now, but sooner or later, that thing will turn on you. We need to figure out how to deal with potential future crises right now. After spending more time with Zhang Yi, everyone started to become more steady and grounded. Zhang Yi leaned back in his chair, nodding slightly, his expression still calm. I know, he said slowly. But harvesting me won't be so easy. Professor Da Vinci pushed his glasses up. Are you sure? Zhang Yi chuckled softly, his laughter carrying a hint of sharpness. Back when I was in the Demon's Eye, I absorbed Mammon's power before. I even cut a piece of his flesh for research. Now, that power has become a part of me. If I could tame greed, I refuse to believe I can't tame wrath. Shou Kier frowned, her concern evident. But this time is different. Samuel is a Drucker Titan, not like Mammon, a fallen demon god in slumber. Samuel. He embodies the very origin of wrath. Better to be cautious. Zhang Yi gazed at the distant stars, his voice unwavering. Because I refuse to believe fate dictates my destiny. After witnessing so much, I trust no gods. If he dared leave his mark upon me, I shall use that very power to control him in reverse. Brian clicked his tongue. Reverse harvesting Samuel? That idea is insanely bold. I like it. Uncle Yu sighed. You always gamble with your life, kid. What other way is there to live? Zhang Yi countered with a smile, his voice low and unwavering. This world, from the creator to the demon gods, from top to bottom, is a game of power. The weak are merely pawns, only the strong earn the right to choose their fate. A moment of silence fell within the spacecraft. Only the faint hum of the engines echoed through the cabin. Yang Xinxin sat beside them, silent for a long while before finally speaking. Brother Zhang Yi, I think we need to rethink our next move. Zhang Yi turned to look at her. What do you mean? After returning to Earth, we must go to the Xinjiang region. Yang Xinxin's gaze was calm, yet held an undeniable certainty. We've gathered sufficient intelligence on the Brilliant Moon Empire. Next, we must head to the Dragon Clan beneath the Qinling Mountain. But that place isn't easily accessible. We need to find Guanlongyue first, she'll be our bridge. She's currently the only human who's ever entered the Dragon Clan. To gain access beneath the Qinling Mountain, we must rely on her. All right, it's settled then. Zhang Yi nodded in agreement. His thoughts aligned with hers. He walked over to Uncle Yu, requested a golden vanilla cigarette, lit it, and slowly exhaled a puff of smoke. He rarely indulged in this habit, but an occasional cigarette brought a sense of calm to his mind. Ultimately, whether it's Samuel's power or the Brilliant Moon Empire's warning, they all point to one truth: the end of this era may come sooner than we imagine. Then we must act even faster. Zhang Yi's gaze was as cold as ice. I refuse to wait until doomsday arrives to realize I'm still not strong enough. He rose to his feet, gazing down at Earth through the porthole. The planet's glow filtered through the glass, casting a cold, resolute light upon his face. We face not only Samuel, but also the Creator, Kagago, and the revival of ancient civilizations. To survive, there is only one path: to keep growing stronger. Yang Xinxin nodded softly, her voice gentle yet resolute. So this return to Earth isn't just for the Dragon Clan. It's also preparation for the coming war. War? Brian's tail twitched, his eyes suddenly darkening. I hate that word. Deep down, everyone understood this impending journey would be anything but easy. Samuel's markings, Kagago's fading restrictions on ancient civilizations, the warning from the Brilliant Moon Empire, all pointed to the sixth generation of humanity standing at the tipping point of destiny. Zhang Yi gazed into the void ahead, exhaling slowly. The Qinling Mountain Dragon Vein will be our next target. The Dreamer's engines roared to life once more, its silver-white energy trail slicing through the darkness. The ship docked at the edge of a sandy canyon, where King Arthur, Saladin, and Morgan's forces awaited them. Seeing Zhang Yi return, they all stepped forward to greet him. How did it go? King Arthur inquired. Quite smoothly, Zhang Yi replied calmly. The people of the Brilliant Moon Empire were generous, giving me quite a few valuable items. I can see that. Saladin smiled as he looked at him. Your aura feels heavier than before you went in. Did you level up again? Zhang Yi rolled his eyes. You're imagining things. Looks like you had a pleasant chat with those Silver Moon Throne entities. Morgan shrugged, grinning wryly. How about marrying into the Brilliant Moon? This place is all female and no male. Being a Brilliant Moon goddess's husband would definitely be better than life on Earth. You try it, Zhang Yi replied with a smirk. They'd probably dissect you down to atomic units for research first. Everyone burst into laughter.